Here's something most people never realize about expensive-looking gardens. It's almost never the plants that make the difference. It's not the rare flowers, it's not the fancy furniture, it's not even the size of the space. It's the edges. Walk into any professionally designed garden and look down. What you'll see are clean, defined borders, crisp lines where the lawn ends and the bed begins, where the path meets the planting, where the patio transitions into the garden. That single detail, more than anything else, is what separates a garden that looks designed from one that looks accidental. And here's the part that genuinely shocked me when I started testing this. You don't need a landscaper. You don't need expensive materials. You need the right techniques, me in a free Saturday afternoon. Today, I'm giving you 7 easy but magical DIY edging and garden border ideas that will make your backyard look like you spent thousands when you spent almost nothing. I saved the most dramatic transformation for number 1, and I promise you, once you see it installed, you will never look at your garden the same way again. Let's count them down. Welcome back to Nature Nest TV, where we prove every single week that a beautiful, thriving garden doesn't require a big budget. Just smart ideas and a willingness to get your hands a little dirty. If you're new here, this channel is all about practical, creative gardening for real people with real lives. Hit that subscribe button right now and ring that bell. Because if today's video gives you even one idea that transforms your outdoor space, you are going to want everything else we put out. All right, let's talk edges. Coming in at number 7, we have the buried bottle border. This one stops people in their tracks, and when they lean in to figure out what they're actually looking at, the reaction is always the same. Pure delight. Here's the idea. Collect wine bottles, beer bottles, or any uniform glass bottles in a single color. Deep green, cobalt blue, or clear all work beautifully. Dig a shallow trench along the edge of your garden bed, about 6 inches deep. Then bury each bottle neck down in the trench side by side, until just the rounded base of each bottle sits above the soil line. The result is a smooth, curved row of glass hemispheres catching and refracting light along your entire garden border. In morning sun, a cobalt blue bottle border glows like a string of sapphires set into the earth. In the evening, the glass picks up the warm amber of low light and scatters it across the surrounding plants. The technique is centuries old. European cottage gardens used it long before anyone called it a DIY, but it photographs like contemporary garden design and costs exactly nothing if you save bottles over a few months. For a uniform look, stick to one bottle color and one bottle size throughout the border. Mixing sizes and colors reads as random rather than intentional. The discipline of uniformity is what makes this look designed rather than collected. A 6-foot border section takes about 15 to 20 bottles depending on their diameter. Plan your collection accordingly before you start digging. The buried bottle border works best along curved bed edges. The individual bottle shapes naturally follow a curve without any cutting or bending. For straight edges, a taut garden twine guideline keeps your trench perfectly true before you start burying. Comparable decorative glass garden edging at a garden boutique. $30 to $60 per 6-foot section. Your bottle border, completely free. And genuinely more beautiful. Coming up next, we use one of the oldest natural materials in gardening to create a border that looks like it belongs on a British estate. Coming in at number 6, we have the woven willow hurdle border. If you have any willow, dogwood, or even flexible young branches growing anywhere near you, or if your local garden center sells willow whips in spring, you have everything you need for the most organically beautiful garden border on this entire list. A woven hurdle border is made by pushing a row of upright stakes, about 12 inches apart, along your bed edge, then weaving long, flexible branches horizontally through the uprights in an over-under pattern. As you add rows of woven branches, the structure builds into a low, rustic, incredibly charming fence border that looks like it was lifted directly from an English kitchen garden. Use wooden dowels or sturdy bamboo stakes from the Dollar Tree as your uprights. Push them at least 8 inches into the ground for stability. For the weaving material, fresh willow whips are the classic choice because they're naturally flexible and will actually root in moist soil over time, making the border stronger as the season progresses. If willow isn't available, any long flexible branch works. Wisteria prunings, rose canes with thorns removed, or even thick grapevine tendrils. The weaving itself is genuinely meditative once you get into the rhythm. Over one upright, under the next, over the next, rotating the starting position with each new row so the pattern locks together tightly. A 2-foot tall, 8-foot long woven hurdle border takes about 90 minutes to complete and requires 0 tools beyond the stakes. Seal the finished hurdle with a thin coat of raw linseed oil, available at hardware stores, to extend its outdoor life and deepen the warm honey tones of the wood. Left natural, it weathers to a beautiful silver gray within 1 season. This border works as both a decorative edge and a functional low barrier, keeping mulch in beds, defining lawn edges cleanly, and giving climbing plants a low trellis to grab onto as they emerge from the soil. Handmade woven willow garden edging at garden shows and artisan markets, $40 to $80 per section. Your version from foraged branches and Dollar Tree stakes, under $5. Next up, we go permanent, and the results are timeless. Coming in at number 5, we have the reclaimed brick soldier course border. There is a reason that brick garden edging appears in photographs of the world's most beautiful gardens, from Sissinghurst in England to the kitchen gardens of French chateaux. It is simple, permanent, and it makes every plant bed it borders look more important. And here's the thing about brick that most people don't realize. You don't need to buy new bricks. Every demolition site, every Craigslist free section, every old driveway teardown generates reclaimed bricks that people are actively trying to give away. Old bricks, weathered, mossy-edged, slightly irregular, look dramatically better than new ones in a garden border context. The installation technique that looks most expensive is called the soldier course. Bricks stood upright on their narrow end, leaning slightly inward into the bed at a consistent angle. Dig a trench 4 inches deep along your bed edge. Set each brick into the trench at a 45-degree inward lean, pressing the base firmly into the soil. Pack soil tightly around each brick as you go. The angled soldier course creates a dynamic, rhythmic line along your border that is visually far more interesting than bricks laid flat. The repeated angled forms catch light differently throughout the day. Morning light raking across the brick faces creates dramatic shadow lines that make the border look almost architectural. For a curved border, soldier course bricks follow a curve naturally because each brick is an independent unit. Simply angle each one slightly toward the inside of the curve as you set it. No mortar needed for a garden bed border. The soil packing holds everything firmly in place through the season. If frost heaving is an issue in your zone, push bricks slightly deeper into the trench before packing. New decorative brick edging at a landscaping supply store, $2 to $4 per brick. Reclaimed bricks from a free Craigslist listing, $0. A 30-foot soldier course border from Free Bricks, a garden feature that adds genuine visual value to your entire property. Coming up, we take something most gardeners throw away and turn it into a border material that photographers love. Coming in at number 4, we have the Riverstone Mosaic Edge. Here is the truth about Riverstone garden borders that most DIY gardening content misses entirely. Piling stones randomly along a bed edge looks amateur. Placing them with intention, considering size, color, and spacing, looks like craftsmanship. The technique is the same. The result is completely different. Start by collecting or purchasing Riverstones in a limited palette, 2 or 3 tones maximum, warm gray and cream, deep charcoal and rust, and sandy tan and white. Restricting your color palette is the single most important step in making a stone border look designed rather than collected. Dig a shallow trench, 3 inches deep, along your bed edge. Begin placing stones with the largest ones first, pushed firmly into the trench base. Fill gaps between large stones with medium stones, then fill remaining voids with small stones. Press each stone down firmly so the flat face is vertical and facing outward. This exposes the smooth, river-worn face of the stone rather than the rough, broken edge. The mosaic effect emerges naturally as you work through the 3 sizes. From a standing distance, the varied sizes and the consistent color palette read as a cohesive, intentional border. Up close, the variation in individual stone shapes adds texture and detail that makes people want to crouch down and look more carefully. Edge the finished stone border with a thin line of horticultural sand pressed into the remaining gaps at soil level. The sand stabilizes the stones, prevents weed germination in the gaps, and adds a clean finishing line between the stone border and the lawn or path beyond it. Pair a riverstone border with low-growing edging plants on the garden bedside, creeping thyme, dwarf mondo grass, or compact lavender planted just inside the stone line. And the combination of the hard material border and the soft plant border creates a layered edge that is genuinely beautiful from every angle. Bagged riverstone at a garden center, $6 to $12 per bag. A 40-foot riverstone mosaic border, 3 to 4 bags plus 1 free afternoon. The result looks like a feature a landscape designer specified by name. Stay with me. We're halfway through, and the next 3 ideas are the most dramatic on this entire list. Quick pause right here. If your backyard is already looking better just from watching this video, smash that like button right now. It costs you nothing, and it genuinely helps this channel reach more gardeners who are ready to transform their outdoor spaces. And drop a comment below telling me which edging idea you're trying first. I read every single comment, and I love hearing what you're creating out there. Back to it. Coming in at number 3, we have the living herb border. Most garden borders are made of hard materials, stone, brick, metal, wood, as they define the edge, and then they stop. A living herb border does everything a hard border does. And then it keeps going. It grows. It blooms. It smells extraordinary. And it puts food on your table every single week through the growing season. The concept is simple. Instead of installing a material border along the front edge of your garden beds, you plant a dense, continuous row of low-growing edging herbs that define the boundary with living foliage. The result is a border that is softer than stone, more fragrant than any material you can buy, and more valuable than anything you can install. The best herbs for a living border share 3 qualities. They stay compact and low, under 12 inches, without constant cutting. They tolerate being planted densely, and they look beautiful as a mass planting while remaining individually useful in the kitchen. Chives are the anchor plant for this border. Plant them 4 inches apart in a continuous row along your bed edge. They form upright clumps of slender green foliage that stays tidy all season, produces purple globe flowers in spring that are genuinely stunning, and provides fresh onion flavor for every meal. Hardy in zones 3 to 9, nearly indestructible. Alternate chive clumps with compact thyme plants. Creeping thyme or English thyme both work beautifully. Thyme spreads slowly outward, softening the line between the herb border and the lawn or path, and it blooms in tiny pink or white flowers through early summer that pollinators absolutely adore. For a third layer of interest, Unshantuk Watts dwarf basil plants. The globe variety stays a perfect 6-inch mound between the chives and thyme groupings during the warm season. The deep green, slightly glossy basil foliage contrasts beautifully with the fine texture of chives and the silver gray of thyme. Water the living border consistently through its first season to establish roots. Once established, chives and thyme are remarkably drought-tolerant and require almost no maintenance beyond a light haircut in early spring to remove winter dieback. Harvest from your border continuously. Berdito Triancabri Crinsi Harjade. The regular cutting of chives and thyme encourages dense, bushy regrowth that keeps the border looking full and neat. You are essentially pruning and harvesting at the same time, every time you visit the kitchen. A 30-foot living herb border costs about $15 to $25 in plants from a garden center, or nearly nothing if you start from seed or divide existing plants. It produces fresh herbs worth several times that investment every single season it grows. More importantly, no landscape designer, no garden photographer, and no garden show visitor can walk past a well-established living herb border without stopping to touch it, smell it, and ask what it is. That is the definition of a garden feature that looks expensive. Number 2 is going to make you look at your lawn edger in a completely new way. Coming in at number 2, we have the deep cut spade. Edge with charcoal mulch finish. This is the edging technique that professional landscape designers use on every high-end garden they install. It requires no purchased materials. It uses tools you almost certainly already own. And the result is the single crispest, cleanest, most dramatic garden border effect you can achieve. The kind that makes garden beds look like they were cut with a laser. Here is the technique exactly. Take a flat spade. Not a round shovel. A flat spade with a perfectly straight blade edge. Hold it absolutely vertical. Push it 6 inches straight down into the soil along your bed edge, using a taut garden twine guideline to keep your cut perfectly true. Repeat this cut every 2 inches along the entire length of your border, creating a continuous, perfectly vertical wall of soil on the lawn side of the edge. Then, and this is the step most people skip, and it's the step that makes all the difference. Use the spade to make a second angled cut from inside the bed, iron meeting the vertical cut at the bottom. This removes a thin wedge of soil and creates a V-shaped channel along the entire border edge. The channel is what separates the lawn from the bed with a visual line of shadow that makes the border look three-dimensional rather than flat. Rake the bedside smooth, then apply a 2-inch layer of jet black charcoal mulch, available at garden centers, to the entire bed surface right up to the V-channel edge. Here is why the charcoal mulch finish is transformative. The deep black of fresh charcoal mulch creates maximum contrast against both the green lawn on one side and the plant foliage on the other. Every plant in your bed suddenly looks more vivid. Colors pop, textures sharpen. The whole bed composition gains clarity and drama that lighter mulches never provide. The V-channel edge holds the mulch cleanly in place without any hard border material at all. The shadow line in the channel reads from a distance as a crisp, defined edge. The combination of the deep cut channel and the charcoal mulch finish produces the kind of border that stops people on the street. Recut the edge every 6 to 8 weeks through the growing season as grass creeps back toward the channel. The maintenance cut takes 5 minutes per 10 feet of border once the initial edge is established. Charcoal mulch at a garden center, $6 to $10 per bag. Flat spade you already own, free. The professional landscape edge finish this creates, priceless in terms of the visual transformation it delivers to your entire garden. And now, number 1. And the edging idea that completely transformed my backyard and made 3 neighbors stop their cars to ask what I'd done. Coming in at number 1, we have the curved Corten steel look. Using landscape edging painted rust real Corten steel garden edging. The kind you see in award-winning contemporary garden designs, in Chelsea flower show installations, in high-end landscape architecture projects, costs $15 to $30 per linear foot. For a 30-foot garden border, you're looking at $450 to $900 just for the edging material, before installation. The warm, rich, oxidized rust tone of Corten steel is one of the most sophisticated and beautiful materials in modern garden design. It pairs perfectly with green foliage, looks stunning against gravel or dark mulch, and ages more beautifully over time rather than degrading. But here is the DIY version that costs under $30 for a full 30-foot border, and that experienced gardeners genuinely cannot distinguish from the real thing at normal viewing distance. Purchase standard black plastic lawn edging, the flexible, rolled kind available at any garden center or hardware store for $10 to $15 for a 50-foot roll. This is the structural foundation of your border. Install it along your bed edge in the standard way. Dig a 4-inch trench. Press the edging in so the top lip sits just above soil level. Backfill firmly and stake at intervals. Now comes the transformation. Clean the exposed top surface of the installed edging with a damp cloth and let it dry completely. Apply a base coat of rust-colored outdoor spray paint. Rust-Oleum makes a specific rust reformer and a rustic patina finish that produces exactly the right tone. Apply in light, uneven passes rather than a solid coat. You want variation in the color, not uniformity. While the base coat is still slightly tacky, lightly mist the surface with a 50-50 mixture of white vinegar and hydrogen peroxide using a small spray bottle. The acid in the vinegar reacts with the iron compounds in the rust-colored paint to create a genuine surface texture variation. Darker in recesses, lighter on high points, that is indistinguishable from actual oxidized metal. Allow to dry completely. 24 hours minimum, before exposing to weather. The finished surface has the exact warm, mottled amber rust tone of genuine weathered Corten steel. Apply a final mist of matte outdoor sealer to protect the finish through the season. Install this faux Corten border along a bed filled with ornamental grasses, lavender, or silver-leaved plants. The contrast between the rust tone of the edging and the silver-blue foliage is one of the most sophisticated color combinations in contemporary garden design. Photograph it in afternoon light when the sun hits the border at a low angle, and the rust tones glow warm against the garden behind it. The total cost of this installation, plastic edging, 2 cans of spray paint, vinegar, peroxide, and sealer, runs $25 to $35 for a 30-foot border. The visual result is a garden border that landscape architects charge hundreds of dollars to specify and install. And that is the entire point. The gardens that look expensive are not expensive. They are thoughtful. They are intentional. They understand that the eye cannot distinguish between real Corten steel and rust-painted plastic from 6 feet away. But it can absolutely distinguish between a garden with defined, beautiful edges and one without. Bonus tip. Here's the single piece of edging advice that professional landscapers never put in free content. Because it's the thing that separates truly great garden edges from merely good ones. Always edge after rain, never before. When soil is dry, it crumbles, your cuts lose their clarity, and the channel walls collapse before you can finish the run. When soil is moist, 24 to 48 hours after good rain, it cuts cleanly, holds its shape perfectly, and the finished edge stays crisp for weeks longer than a dry soil cut. I schedule every edging job for the day after the rain. Your results will be dramatically better every single time. And the edge will last twice as long before it needs refreshing. It sounds almost too simple to matter. It matters enormously. There you have it. 7 easy but magical DIY edging and garden border ideas that will make any backyard look like it was designed by a professional, built with expensive materials, and maintained by someone who really knows what they're doing. The secret was never the budget. It was always the edges. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 7 border ideas are you installing first? Drop your answer in the comments right now. I genuinely love hearing what you're transforming out there and seeing the before and after results. If this video gave you real inspiration today, please subscribe and hit that bell. It's free, it takes 2 seconds, and it means this channel can keep bringing you ideas like these every single week. Thank you so much for being part of the NatureNest TV community. Now get out there and grow something amazing. I'll see you in the next one. NatureNest TV, growing food that grows itself.